Hey there guys, welcome back to Rollers Return and welcome to this, the first video in a brand new series we're calling Blader Talks. Blader Talks can be a series of videos where we interview, catch up with and have a chat to various bladers from around the world and hear their stories in rollerblading. Hopefully you'll like this first episode. In this one we caught up with Vincent, aka Dark Mage Designs, to hear his stories about rollerblading. Check it out.
Nice one, man. Well, should we jump into? I'm going to try and keep it fairly structured. I'm not going to be too boring with it. Like, feel free to wax lyrical, not no pun intended about stuff.
I'll try not to. I'll try not to do too much.
we'll get into it anyway. So, first question I'm asking a lot of the sort of older bladers, if you like, or the ones that have maybe dipped in and out and sort of come back into the sport recently, is like, why did you get back into it? Sort of what made you start getting back into it again?
Okay, the reason I started getting back into it was in 2020, as so many of us, like, I was locked down, but the weather was amazing. So we were taking my kids out to little outdoor skate parks on their scooters. And the moment I stepped into an outdoor skate park, I got the itch. Now, because I've got them here, because I'm a hoarder, I still had my ST10s sat in the loft. I hadn't skated for about 18 years, but I still had them. Fucking made them focus. They'd come through 5 house moves with me. So I went and got them out of the loft. They were still stock then. They had Able frames on, worst frames in the world. And so the next time we went, I took my skates, and it was a bit scary at first, but quickly I started to like, oh no, I can still do this. Like, I can still drop, I couldn't grind when I was a teenager. I just was all about getting air. But now I'm old and I focus on those grinds. So yeah, modded them, which started my journey into skate modding.
The fact they survived 5 house moves is pretty impressive, right?
I am a hoarding pack rat, so I keep absolutely everything. Unless someone makes me throw it away, I will keep it. My mum bought me those when I was 15 for 120 quid brand new from the shop. That's how much Solomon's cost in 2001, 120 quid for the 10s anyway. The pros were more. So yeah, I got those, and I just never threw them out.
It's mad how they've appreciated in value, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah, I mean,
actually, you could sell them for like, that and more now, and they're like.
Well, you'd think the problem is I'm a heathen, so I've modded them. Like, I've flattened them and I've put carbon plates on because I couldn't be doing with the stock plate. I've got another 2 pairs of Solomon's sat over here. I've got my pros, which are my regular everyday skate, and I've got a pair of Chaz ones, which are like my backups for if anything ever happens to the pros. I've got a pair of Chaz ones just sat.
I love that. There's people out there clambering over like old Solomon's and stuff, and now it's like, yeah, I've just got 3 pairs. A couple of them just lying around, backup.
It's funny. I mean, I don't know if I might just be stepping all over a future question, but I've actually been really lucky. I got given the pro shells. So someone gave me the shell, just the shell. Wow. They had no sole plates, no liners, no shock absorbers, didn't even have laces. They were just the empty shell. And that's my everyday skate now. I bought some liners off a guy. He's called Dave Morgan. He's a good guy. He helps people who can't afford skate parts to get skates and stuff like that. Like, he gives a lot of stuff away. He's given me a lot of stuff. He gave me a set of Kaiser Slimlines.
Legend.
When I was very first coming into it and I had these crappy Able frames, he hooked me up with some Kaiser Slimlines with like good wheels and good bearings so that I could like skate properly, so I could get into it. And then I bought some liners off him. I bought some Fat Boy liners, and he sent me, the Fat Boys, a set of blank liners, which are worth way more than the Fat Boys, the Pro Shells, some Sabre sole plates that I modded onto the Pro Shells, some Razor Genesis shock absorbers, all sorts of stuff.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, my pros like now.
Yeah.
It's the only problem with the green screen. It cuts out my skates. So like they're pretty heavily modded at this point. There's nothing really stock on them. But yeah. And then the Chaz ones, they were given to me by a guy called Chris Caneve. He's one of the Scottish bladers.
Yeah, I've seen him online. Yeah.
He swapped me those Chaz shells. He said, I've got these shells. You can have them for a DM care package. So I sent him a load of wax and a key ring. He's still the only person with that key ring. I've not made another one yet. But I just sent him like a care package of stuff and he sent me the Chaz shells. So
it feels like, I mean, going off the sort of, questions and the answers that we try to get, it feels like there's like a good community element to that story.
Absolutely.
Right? Like particularly with the older bladers, it's like one of the biggest things that's come out of this last year, probably, because that's not the only story like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of people out there that are supporting each other, and some people, for whatever reason, can't afford to, but are desperate to get back to it. And there's other people out there that have got old stuff lying around that's gathering dust and they want to share it. It feels like there's quite a good, you've had quite a good experience there of sort of give and take.
Absolutely. The community is amazing. Just throughout, I've had very, very few bad experiences. And I know that it happens to people, get stiffed on sales, or they have arguments with people, especially online, when everyone likes to get into it online, don't they? But from people I've actually met in person, and like people like Dave Morgan, who I've still not met him. Like we've talked loads on like through messaging and stuff like that, but we've never met in person, because when I was in Scotland, he couldn't make it that day. When I went to the loading bay in Glasgow, and he couldn't make it that day. And it's the same with Chris. We message each other a lot and we chat a lot, but I've never met him in person. But I skate with a load of really good guys. Some younger, some older. There's quite a few in my age range. Like Kev Reed is always good to skate with. We always have when we skate together, just the two of us, we always have really good sessions.
Yeah,
because we like
so
push
each other on. Yeah.
But like in the right way, because I feel like when I skate with young guys and they're like these, really bendy and like they can sit on the skates and they're like really, really good. I feel pressured almost to go big, like go for big grinds or go for new stuff, or I'm trying to hit things that whereas when I was with Kev, it's dead chill. Like the other day I spent 15 minutes just trying to nail down half cabs and then like 180 and back in and stuff like that, and I don't feel like there's any pressure, and we just kind of push each other the right way
within your limits, because you know what your limits are.
Well, right? It's like just a little bit over your limit, but you don't feel like, I've got to keep up with these guys who are doing these massive runs around the spine with like 9 different grinds and 540s and stuff. Yeah,
we were at skate park near us, Unit. It's a little park, and we just went there randomly the other day. And so if you follow Jamie and Charlie, Blader Dad and Blader Kid London on Instagram, Charlie turns up and he comes on the mini ramp, and we're all the older boy. He's literally like whatever, a tenth of our age or something. He's super young, and he comes on and he was just rinsing us. He was like, "Come on, boys, just land a topside, do this, do that." And we're like, "Oh my gosh!" And like he's so confident with it as well. Like, what a great. But
it's easy when you're a kid because you're immortal.
You're elastic. Yeah, exactly. You're just rubber. You just bounce.
I remember being a kid. My whole thing was air. I just loved getting air. There was like the park I used to skate at as a kid had a massive spine, and my whole thing was that I just liked to get air, big air over the spine. And I like to do big backsides. They had a big bowl downstairs, and I like to drop the vert and just do stuff like that.
Yeah, just full send all the time.
I had 2 grinds in my arsenal back then. I could do backsides and I could do Mizzous. That was it.
Sounds like me now, to be honest. But yeah.
Well, now I'm very focused in these days on like learning grinds, and I have my checklist series where I literally have a big list of things that I want to do, and I don't always use it, but sometimes I'm in a session, especially if it's a very quiet day at the park, and I'm like, I'm going to just look on my checklist, I'm going to find something and I'm going to work on it.
Yeah.
And my progress was big once I started doing that, because I had a specific goal in mind.
Do you find that's helped? Like that's like a fairly new thing for you, in the last sort of like since you've come back to it? Obviously, do you find that that's really helped you sort of like
Absolutely.
make that progress? Because you're holding yourself to account, aren't you, a little bit?
I approach skating completely differently as an adult. I mean, I think back to when I used to have skates on all the time, but I actually didn't go to skate parks that much because there was no outdoor skate parks anywhere. You know, we're talking late 90s into the early 2000s. There was no skate parks. The only indoor parks near me were in Stockport and in Bolton, and Stockport was the one I used to go to, but it was a 2-hour bus ride. So unless my mum could take me, it was a 2-hour bus ride. So I didn't go often. But when I think about it, I think, God, I was there all the time. But like now I skate once or twice a week, like because I have a car and I can drive to the skate park. And
that was going to be my next question: is like, how often are you managing to get out now? Like,
I try to skate once a week, twice if I can fit it in. So this week I skated on Sunday night. I know that Kev's going tomorrow morning, but I'm going to SK on Friday.
Nice.
SK are having a party on Friday, so I'm going down to that.
Cool.
I know the guy who builds a lot of their stuff. Like he was building a new box yesterday. They've got like new stuff happening all the time, and I know him. I skate with him sometimes, and he was like, "Oh, you should come down to the party on Friday." So that's happening. Awesome. So I don't know if I'll be going tomorrow. I'm a bit sore from Sunday still.
That kind of leads me on to the next thing, right? It's like as we get older, like obviously life stuff gets in the way of you going skating all the time. Part one, but part two is like recovery and like. Oh, so what I was going to ask everyone like through this series really is like, do you have a warm up, cool down routine? Do you find that you've got to have a stretch out or anything like that, or are you just like?
I should. I don't. Yeah. I don't, and it's a combination of reasons. When I get to the skate park and I'm like, well, there's no really good place for me. It's like you see guys like Johnny Quayle, right? Johnny Quayle turns up at the skate park and he does like this full yoga routine because he just doesn't care, and he just does this full yoga routine and then he absolutely kills it. I mean, like he's the humblest guy in the world, but there's a reason that he keeps winning skate jams. I was literally talking to him about this yesterday, and he's going, "Oh yeah, I fluked this win," and "Oh yeah, I fluked that win." I'm like, mate, if you do it twice in a row, it's not fluke. So he does this whole stretching routine, but I'm always like, no, I want to put my skates on and I want to just jump straight in. And that's what I do, and I pay for it. I try and go easy for the first 10-15 minutes. I try and go easy, keep it small, keep it like just up and down the spine, get warm, and then start chucking stuff. But no, I don't always do that.
It's too tempting, isn't it, to just go straight in?
Sometimes I'm like, well, it's my first drop, but why not go for a top pawn? Let's go for it. Why not?
Love it.
Yeah, but recovery time is long. So like my elbow at the moment is massive. I don't know if you can see this. I've got a big like tennis ball elbow.
Tennis ball, yeah.
I did like a people's elbow drop on a ramp the other day. I was actually filming promos for new wax, and I did a soul grind, and I was concentrating so hard on the camera and the wax. It wasn't even on this big ramp. It was on a little ramp. I jumped and just didn't turn my feet when I jumped off. So I landed kind of sideways on the ramp and just elbow dropped the floor. I wear a pad on. I wear a little soft gasket on this elbow because I always land on my left elbow.
It's like it's like a regular. You're just going to keep banging it and banging it until it just gets its own built-in
friction burns as well. I constant friction burns on that elbow. It's covered in scars because I kept getting friction burns and then taking the scab off the friction burn and bleeding everywhere. And I'm like, trying not to drip blood. I dripped blood all over the floor at SK once because I did that. I ripped the scab off a friction burn. Luckily, Luke, who's one of the owners there, was very cool about it. I was like, "Do you want me to clean up?" He was like, "Nah, you're fine. Here's a plaster. Go and stop bleeding on my floor."
What a lad! Nice.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, I did my back recently. I dropped in and my back seized, and that was 5 weeks of recovery. I was still skating during that 5 weeks, but I was having to take it real easy because my back just kept like seizing up, dropping in. Anytime I pumped, my back went,
yeah.
And you pump a lot, especially like I skate spines and bowls primarily. So you spend most of your time pumping. It's like every time my back went, So
I suppose as we get a bit older, you just got to know when to rest a little bit. But it's very difficult to stay disciplined.
No, you take ibuprofen, put deep heat on it, go skate more. Like
crack on, stick a plaster on it, and get on with it.
Yeah, I keep moving. So I had a couple of consults with a physio recently because of my back because it was taking that long to heal.
Yeah.
I was starting to think I had a slip disc because I've got a mate with a slip disc, and we were comparing back pain, and mine was like very much the same as his, and I was like, oh, this could be an issue. I'm still going to skate, it's not going to stop, but maybe I'll need to take more painkillers. So I had I had a video call consult with a physio. I put my phone on a tripod so I could stand across the room and say, it hurts here, and he's like, right, do this, do that, and it was getting better by that point, and he gave me a load of stretches to do, which I don't do.
Which you've not done, yeah.
No, which I've not done. I've done them a couple of times. I'd had another physio consult, and one of the stretches he gave me was prone lying. So it was literally lie on your face on the floor, flat, on a hard floor. And what my favorite bit about it was like duration 2 minutes, 1 rep, 1 set. I was like, okay, so just lie on the floor for 2 minutes. Okay, cool.
I mean, these physios have got to earn their money. Yeah, I bet.
A lot of bladers say it works great. You lie on the floor on a hard floor for a couple of minutes, and it just like straightens everything out, just like aligns everything.
I might have to try that.
Yeah, but I need to do yoga. I follow the blading physio on YouTube and on Insta, and I've done his routine a few times, but so when I'd done my back, it was like really sore, and I thought, right, well, I'll try just doing this yoga routine every day. Part of his yoga routine is this squat thing. You do like a squat and then you push your knees out, and that absolutely blitzed my back. I think that added a week to my recovery, but that was because I was stupid. It's like it was hurting as I was crouching down. I shouldn't have pushed it. That's I'm always like, well, if the stretch isn't hurting, I'm not doing it right. But that's not how it works.
Probably not. This is one of the weird things, isn't it? As you get older, you think more about that sort of stuff, but you still push it. You're still going to push it.
Oh yeah, that's just my nature. You know, I'm not a cautious person. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm a fool by nature. So I just do things. You know, I'll just go for things.
I suppose you've got to be. So what? Who? I guess from that adrenaline junkie sort of point of view, what skaters are like inspiring you right now? Which skaters are kind of giving you that, hey, you know, you watch them and then you go out for a session and you push it a little bit harder?
My favorite skater is Sam Crofts. Not only is he a top guy, like if you message Sam, he will message you back, he will help you out, but that dude is a bowl monster. So the reason I've got these frames, I've got the Element 2.0 60s. The reason I've got those is because he did a rolling review of those frames. I watched his rolling review and I was like, I must have these. I must own these. But you watch him, he skates, is it 4Motion he skates at, where he pumps around the bowl and then he just suddenly pops up onto the coping.
Yeah,
and he'll do a backslide like all the way down. And I'm like, how is he doing this? This is some sort of witchcraft. It's Sam is incredible. When he dropped the Crofts and he did the promo, that promo is one of my favorite promo videos ever made. The music's great, the editing's great. There's that great bit where a security guard's saying you can't do your tricks here, and as he's saying it, Crofts flies through with a disaster soul down that huge handrail.
It's a madness.
He's an absolute legend. And then Nell Martin is a really, really cool dude. He's like a vert legend. He invited me to his house in Las Vegas because I was just like, "Is this your house?" Like these videos. He was like, "Yeah, it's my house. You should come." And I was like, "Oh, if I'm ever in Vegas, yeah." He was like, "No, like if you're in Vegas, come to my house." He's got like a 14-foot vert ramp in his back garden and a street section and a pool and
living the dream. Literally living the dream.
I messaged him on just. I wanted some advice on vert, and I messaged him saying, "Can you give me any advice?" He was like, "Have you got any videos?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, get some videos, send me the videos, I'll give you advice." And he did. Like, I took some videos, sent him. He was like, "You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this to get more height." And
that goes back to the community thing again, though, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't matter where you are, top, middle, bottom. Like, you know, starter, returning, older blader. Old pro, like there's still a lot of communication going on, a lot of like one-to-one interaction, which is awesome, right?
So then on the non-pro side, in the sort of the smaller scene, Rich Breeds is amazing. I've not seen him on Insta a lot lately, but I love the stuff Rich does. I love how inventive he is. And you never know what he's going to do. You see him in the video and you're trying to think, what's he going to do in this video? And then he does something that you would never have even considered that he might do. It's always fun to watch. There are a few others. Jake Ricketts is always fun. I know Jake, he's a cool guy, and he just throws himself at things.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like watching a blader just go hell for leather.
Yeah.
And really throw them, because you've got those two styles, haven't you? You've got those really smooth, slick bladers like Joe Atkinson and a lot of these older bladers where everything is just steezy and slick as hell. And then you've got the bladers where it feels frantic. It feels like they're working hard.
There's jeopardy in every single trick.
And I feel like
go.
Sam Crofts is like that. Like he looks like he's working for his tricks, and Jake's like that.
Yeah.
And I love both styles. I love those guys where everything's just smooth as butter. But the guys who I feel like they're working hard, I'm like, yeah, because I have to work hard. So I like seeing you work hard. Yeah.
It's important to see those, like a lot of the pro videos that have come out recently, they've then released the making of, where they show you all the fails and bails that went into it. And somehow that adds a layer of value to it. Right?
Yeah, 100%. They're not perfect. They don't hit it every time.
Exactly.
It takes them 10 attempts to hit this cool trick. And so that's Sam Crofts' Aeon, the Aeon promo. He has a lot of that within it. Like that handrail, he misses that handrail about 5 or 6 times, and then the security guard turns up, and then he nails it.
But that adds flavour to it, doesn't it? That's what 100%. Makes it authentic, right?
Yeah. That's because that's how it is when you try and film anything. You try and film a trick, and you've been like nailing a trick, and then so like this bowl in the image behind me on like this corner here, I wanted to grind around that corner. And I'd literally been trying for months it's a tight corner. I've been trying to grind. I tried top sides and I just kept flying over it. I tried soles. I just couldn't do it. And then one day I nailed it, like absolutely nailed it on. So I was like, get the camera out. I got the camera out. I did another 15, 20 attempts. I could not hit it. I was just bailing, like hurt myself. As soon as the camera comes out, you can't skate. Like, that's the camera.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's great that everyone's trying to film stuff now, though. Like, even no matter what level, people are filming
it's so easy
putting it out
these
there.
days.
Yeah, just pitch up and you can use your phone. You can use whatever.
Yeah, you just use your phone. Like, for the quality on my phone.
Yeah,
it's good enough to. It's full HD. You know what I mean? Like, I could film in 4K, but I don't just because of the storage.
So, not like the old days where you had to film it on a potato and then go and get it edited somewhere. Like, so.
Exactly.
Where do you see blading going this year? Where's it going? And that could be for you, but also just blading as a whole. Where do you see it going this year? Because last year was crazy. So
it was. I mean, so 2020 was crazy. So 2020, I think the shops reported a 40% uptick.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, a 400% uptick in blade sales, which is why everything was out of stock forever, because supply lines were knackered and suddenly everyone was buying skates.
Yeah.
Obviously through 2021, I've seen more people starting. So Sunday night, the roller session, it's technically a quad session, but it's like quads and bladers. Now, normally there's me and maybe 3 or 4 other bladers on a busy blader night, and then a load of quads. This week, there were so many bladers. Like, there must have been 10 bladers, and like quite a few quads, but that like so many bladers in one place without it being
at the same time. Yeah.
Blade event.
Yeah.
Because I've been to, like, we did Lawrence Badger he runs the Manchester Bladers Facebook group. He arranged a meetup. We did 2 meetups at Greystone in the end of 2020. We did 2, and there was so many bladers there. Like, the park was full of bladers. But that was like an arranged blader event.
Yeah.
You know, this was like just a Sunday night roller session, and all these bladers turned up. There was a few that were there because I had said, come along to this session. They're trying to get back into it. I've said, come along. This is a good session to start on.
Yeah.
So there was one guy there who hadn't skated. He's had, I think it was his 3rd session after a 20-year break.
Yeah.
And he was just chucking himself at stuff. Like, honestly, it was crazy. But I'm hoping that's going to continue, that all these people who've got back into it will stay in it. And that's what I'm seeing. People who are coming back are like, it's people who loved it when they were younger, but now it's something else.
Yeah.
Like it is for me. It's become all consuming.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obsessive by nature. Like, that's just how I am. Yeah. But it's like, I needed a set of straps. So I made a set of straps, and then I started putting that about. So I started selling straps, and then that's become a whole thing, which has led me into getting a 3D printer. And now I'm going to start printing skate parts. And
that brings us on
such a big part of my life.
Well, that's it. That brings us on to like you in 2022, and obviously what you've been doing, and you've been doing some stuff over the last year, which obviously we want to give a little bit of a shout out to in these things as well. So obviously you've done the straps, you've done the wax and stuff. What's happening this year for you with Mage?
Okay, so straps obviously will be continuing. Nothing's going to change there. The wax, I've got the new shape, which is, if I can go the right way, that's the new shape. There it is. That's now live on my website. I've not like officially sort of posted that it is live, but it is. Awesome. I'll do a post at some point. Keeping up with social media, man. I've got so many things to do.
It's another obsession.
Yeah, so I'll be doing that. I'm hoping to expand on that a little bit with maybe some newer products. So I do toe protectors for quad skates now.
Oh, cool.
I've only done one set, and so a guy, he lent me his quads I said, if you lend me your quads, I'll just give you them.
Yeah.
And he's never picked them up. So I also have a set of quads now, which at some point I'm hoping he will come and pick up, and he will go back to quad skating. I don't know why he's not done. But yeah, the 3D printing's becoming a thing. I'm going to start printing parts.
Awesome.
So my Solomons have got printed sole plates.
Nice.
Those are designed by Justin Thursday.
Yeah.
Probably it's whiting them out because it's like, no, they're clearly a green screen. Printed by Hexy Skate Hardware for me because I didn't have a printer then. But yeah, so that's the thing I want to start doing: printing skate parts, designing skate parts, possibly. May become a thing. But that also opens up like the wax. Like I've made my wax molds on the printer. I've just done 2-part slot together molds rather than making silicon molds.
Yep.
Where I have to buy silicon and then try and make a mold and it screws up. This, I've literally print a 2-part mold. Boom! It takes about 3.5 hours to print. So I can print 5 of them, you know what I mean? And then
exactly up the production.
Yeah, just churn wax out. I've got like a 4-kilogram bag of paraffin arriving today at some point.
Nice.
So that I can
that's awesome.
Start getting some production in. So yeah, it's expanding my my product offering. Really is the plan.
Love it. Yeah. No, that's cool. And I think a lot of bladers doing that is actually kind of in a way like enriching the scene again as well. Like everyone's been dabbling with products or dabbling with these little micro businesses as well, which is cool to help fund the habit, right, a little bit. But
100%, yeah, that's like all my DM money either goes back into DM or it gets spent on wheels and bearings and things like that, blader raffles.
Yes,
that's all.
Yeah. Shout out to Blader Raffles.
Yeah, shout out to Andy.
Yeah.
I think it's great that so many blader businesses have popped up. So over 2020, 2021, because obviously Loco existed, and Jake's he's a blader, he's a cool guy. Then Alchemist, blader owned, and Whoosh, blader owned, and then you've got like Grindgloss, who are out there. I mean, Will's doing great stuff. I love Will. Will's amazing. Honestly, by his bearings, I think you've got his bearings.
I've got his bearings. Yeah, they're good. Yeah,
they're absolutely fantastic. Mine could do with a bit of a clean at the moment because I've been running them hard lately. But even then, I'm not noticing a lot of drop in performance. Yeah, it's just I'm really, really anally retentive about my bearings. I'm like, they've got a speck of dirt on them. I must clean them all. So many blade businesses who are smashing it and like filling. So what Will at Grindgloss is trying to do is he's trying to, because he started doing just wax obviously, but he's trying to branch out into other things. So he's like his bearings and his water bottles and all that. Like his bearings, I mean, the amount of development he went through with those. Yeah. And it's that, I feel like that obsessive dedication is a big thing in blading. Like it's, especially with older bladers, we all seem to be very like obsessive about it.
We've latched onto it and it's like, oh, I've got a hobby again. Yes. Like, and
I think it's because so many of us, you spend your life, you think, I'm getting too fit. You get old, you get fat. And like I'm a skinny dude. I've always been a skinny dude. I weighed like 9.5 stone until I was 23. And then suddenly I put on 3 stone seemingly overnight. And, when I started blading in 6 months, I dropped a jean size. Like I hadn't been a 32 waist since I was about 24, and I dropped that just from and I thought, oh my God, an exercise that I enjoy.
Yeah, man.
It's like, going to the gym is boring, and running is one of the worst things I've ever done to my body. Not only does it just hurt, but it's not fun. It's dull. Whereas I go out skating, on a 4-hour session, if I'm going hard on one of those 4-hour sessions, I'll do 3,000 calories.
It's mad. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm enjoying myself. I don't feel like exercise.
the new Weight Watchers. Drop a jean size in one session. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like exercise because going to the gym feels like exercise. It's boring. There's loads of people on the machines. You can never get to the machine you want to get to, and it's expensive. Blading, you're paying in on your sessions unless you skate outdoors, but it's not that expensive. And when you consider when you compare it to like a gym membership, you probably spend less skating, but you're gonna have so much more fun. The injuries are an issue, but
but you could get injured in the gym. It's fine.
Absolutely, you could use the machine wrong and rip a muscle in half.
Exactly. Yeah, and then be lying on the floor for 2 minutes face down.
But I think that's why we've got all these older guys who put all this weight on, and they've tried the gym, and they've tried running, and they've tried diets, and they've tried this, and they've tried that, and they hated it. And then skating suddenly became a thing again, and it was like, it's not weird to skate when you're 30 plus. It's not weird, because why would it be?
Exactly.
It's not weird to do anything else. Why is it weird to go skate? You look at guys like Tony Hawk, who are still out shredding in his 50s. He's still like absolutely smashing it. So why not skate? It's a really good exercise. It's really good fun. There's a fantastic community. You meet all the amount of people I've met, the amount of friends I've made,
whole new group
people who I now skate with all the time, people who I chat with all the time. Like I've got a good mate called Liam who I met through skating, and now we skate together regularly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of people our age. I mean, we're going off on a tangent here. They do find it hard to make new, make new friends at an older age. You have your family, you sort of become a bit more insular, and then you go back out, and that's why I keep going back to the community thing. I mean, it's awesome. Some of our group, we've rekindled old friendships, like old schoolmates that we used to skate with, and we've sort of come back into each other's circles again. So I mean, that's awesome to hear. I think that's a good positive state from from the resurgence.
When you're a grown-up, it's hard. I mean, as a northerner, I chat to people all the time. I chat to random people all the time because that's what you do, especially in Manchester. It's just what you do. You chat to people at the bus stop, you chat to people in queues, but you have a lot of these sort of flighting interactions. But you don't really, because you can't walk up to someone and be like, "Hi, can I want to be your friend?" Like you can when you're a kid. You can just be mates, Whereas as an adult, you can't really do that because it's weird. When you're in the skate park and another blader comes in, you can straight away be like, "Oh, hiya."
Yeah.
Like, how you doing? And then you're skating around near each other for a bit, and then you end up having a chat about what kind of skates you've got, or if it's an older guy, we all have that same story of, in 2020 I had nothing to do, so I bought some skates, or I got my skates out of the loft, or I went to my mum's house and got them out of the garage where they've been sat for 15 years. So we've all got these quite similar stories. So it's like instant common ground.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's a dead easy interaction because you're like, "Oh, I'm going for a skate. Oh, I'll drop such a person a message." Or they'll message you going, "Oh, I'm going to Greystone on whatever day. Do you fancy it?" And if I'm free, I'm like, "Yeah, all right, cool. Why not?" And so you end up spending quite a lot of time together because a couple of hours every other week, you know what I mean? Like, so you become friends, and maybe you're not like inviting them over to your house for dinner, or like you're not doing that sort of stuff, but it's a totally different dynamic. It's like I imagine it's similar to if you were in a five-a-side football team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to liken it to. It's the same as football. I'm still playing football now, more for my sins, which is why I'm probably injured most of the time. But it's the same sort of, it's that camaraderie, that shared interest in that moment as well. You're almost like on the same team, aren't you, in that moment, trying to push each other and all that sort of stuff and support each other. So I mean, it's awesome for that as well, definitely. Where can people find you if they're not already following you on sort of Instagram, YouTube, etc.? Just in case people do want to reach out to you, they're in Manchester or they're in the north and they want to sort of meet up for skate sessions and stuff, or find out more about the wax, that kind of thing.
So at Dark Mage Designs, most places. So Insta is, and Facebook, I think, as well. I don't know, Facebook's weird. But Insta is at Dark Mage Designs. Website is darkmage.cc. But if you go to the Insta, everything's linked from there. I am always up for a skate. I say I'm a sort of layman's blader coach. So especially for people who are coming back, or people who are brand new, I'm happy to meet up on a session, offer you advice, help you out. I have a particular pleasure in teaching people how to drop in.
Yeah.
I've taught loads of people how to drop in, and I was skating Sunday night. There was a guy there. I taught him to drop in a few weeks ago. it was May. I taught him to drop in May. And then I was following him on Instagram and seeing that now he's dropping a bigger thing, and he's dropping a bigger thing, and he's doing stalls and 180 and back in. And so it's the first time I've skated with him since May. And he's like, the progress is huge. And it's because once you get past that drop in, everything else follows. Once you get past that fear of just going over the edge, everything else follows. So yeah, I mean, you know, hit me up, anyone, if you're in Manchester and you want help or advice, or you just want to skate. I'm generally around.
Love it. That's awesome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Mate. Really appreciate it. Obviously,
good luck editing this down to 10 minutes.
It's not going to happen, is it? I think already I'm going to change it to half an hour with or something like that. But it's no, you know, this is about just you should have it as a session with. Yeah, exactly. I think so. I mean, and everyone's going to have slightly different versions of the stories and the, you know, the whys and the whats and the hows. So yeah, it's kind of what we want to share, really, is just to make it a little bit more interesting and sort of build that community and support that. So yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, definitely. Especially this one, obviously, you know, the first one, the pilot episode. So
yeah, I'll have great fun watching myself. I will, to be fair. I'm a horrific narcissist.
That's a good place to end. Love it. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers,
really
buddy.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, mate. Love it. Cheers.
See you later.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.